First, in our academic testing center, we administer the Accuplacer assessment, which you all are familiar with. We administer the CAP assessment, which is an outcome assessment that all students have to take prior to graduation. We administer all proctored testing for online classes. We do makeup testing for students who miss classroom tests. And we also take care of our disability students, our disability services students. In our Certification and Workforce Assessment Center, this is where we do our high stakes testing. Any candidate that comes through our certification center is looking to gain employment with a company. They're looking to get a promotion within a company, or looking for a certification or a licensure through our center. In our center, we have a Prometric Professional Testing Center. This testing center gives 8 to 10, or offers 8 to 10,000 tests just from this vendor alone. Some of the tests that we give through our Prometric Professional Testing Center, we do doctors boards, veterinary boards, dentistry boards. We administer CPA exams, IRS exams, physical therapy. So if you kind of get the gist, they're very high level tests. We also, in our certification center, we work with approximately 50 different vendors. It's usually more, but 50 standard vendors that we work with that each offers tens of thousands of tests that we can administer through our testing center. We give IT certifications. That's probably the largest one across the state that we give, is the IT certifications. We administer insurance exams, property casualty, life and health, those type of exams. We administer teaching license, guidance counselor credentials, basically anything from dog grooming all the way to FBI agent, and anything in between there, including PGA golf pros. It's just, we do a wide gamut of testing. So I just wanted to give you kind of an idea of what we do in our testing center. And then I wanted to let you know we are members of the National College Testing Association. They have very strict guidelines and standards that we have to abide by, and we gladly do that within our testing centers. So with saying that, I wanted to discuss with you the expectations of giving the Accuplacer in your high schools. It's not typically a test that, we don't typically allow any of our tests to be given anywhere other than our testing centers due to these regulations. So I just wanted to kind of discuss some of the rules with you. The first rule is that Accuplacer can only be given 3 times within a rolling year. This is each section of the Accuplacer. This is an absolute. This isn't negotiable. This is a statewide rule. And that's for all testers, not just dual credit. This is for any dual credit or Ivy Tech tester. There are no calculators allowed on the exam, the assessment. Students are not allowed to wear hats, watches, Fitbits, anything that's recordable. I know this may sound silly, but there are pens that have recordable devices in them, tie tacks. I'm sure your students probably don't wear tie tacks, but in case they did, we just have to be cautious of all those different things. The only thing that should be on the student's desk while they're taking the Accuplacer assessment is the scratch paper that you hand out to them, and a pencil. Now, back to the scratch paper. What we do in our center is we allow students 3 pieces of scratch paper, and we collect 3 pieces of scratch paper when they're finished testing before we give them the results to their test. There's many reasons for this. One is to maintain the validity of the test. We have to make sure that they're not harvesting any test questions, taking anything out of the center that may help them the next time when they come back, that they can go home and research or do anything like that. So that is the reason that you have to collect the same amount that you hand out. And again, nothing else on their desk except for that. We also ask that while you're administering the test that you're actively proctoring the exam. And by this, what we're asking you to do is walk around and monitor what's on their screens. They are not allowed to have other browsers open. They can't Google they can't go to other browsers to Google a test question. They can't pull up an online calculator. They can't check their grammar, their spelling, anything like that. They need to only be on the assessment. And again, this is for test security and to keep the integrity of the test. Like I said, this Accuplacer is the only exam that we allow to be given outside of our testing center, so this is a privilege. So we do ask that you follow these rules. And if you have any questions, please let Kimberly know, and she can get a hold of me, contact me if there's any specific questions. One thing I did forget to mention is Accuplacer is not a free exam. Ivy Tech does absorb the cost of this exam due to our commitment with our dual credit partners. The cost for the dual credit exam is approximately $6.50 per a full exam. And for Ivy Tech students who take the customized version here at Ivy Tech, it's approximately $8 per exam. So, we do ask that you're actively monitoring the test and making sure everything's in line as you're giving it. So, does anyone have any questions for me? Yeah.
What's the best way to handle our students who have IEPs and 504s with testing accommodations?
Okay,
We contact you in that situation?
Yes. If you go through Kimberly, she will hook you up with disability services. I'll let you answer that question. Or is that, okay. Yeah.
So just contact me if you have a student or a group of students that have an IEP or a 504 that need accommodations. I'll work with our disability services rep, Todd Nichols, and probably get you in touch with that individual actually to know what parameters and what can be provided. Typically when they come on campus, they'll take the test without accommodations for the first time and see how they do, and then knowing what the test looks like, have a conversation of, hey, I think this is, following my IEP, these are the, extended time. They get extended time. These are not timed tests, as many of you know. So if they need other accommodations, then we work with Todd Nichols from Disability Services to know what parameters we can work with, knowing that we're giving this assessment. So good question.
Any other questions? Yeah.
No, this is totally aside.
Sure.
Where are you guys in regard to testing for your HSE? Are you moving any closer to having that?
We are. We are, actually. We are planning to start at the end of October. We have not been trained. There was some discrepancy when it first started with the way McGraw-Hill set the testing up. It wasn't necessarily for testing centers to give the test. It was more for the high school. I lost the. It was for them to be given where they do the training. Because there's tracking involved, and like I said, with the amount of tests that we give, we're not in the business to track how many times people have taken a test and so on. So McGraw-Hill has made some changes in with what they do, and as soon as we get the training and get everything implemented, I believe October 28th is the date, the start date for us. So, yes.
I'm wondering if other councils have this question too. As far as we're able to give it 3 times in the calendar year, I know the state has the January, February Accuplacer testing as well. Those of you who are giving it in this November 1st for Ivy Tech, are you assuming that if they pass that get back to college ready, then you don't?
There's some guidelines that came out, I think just last week for that, and it's in October for juniors this year.
Okay.
So, but there's guidelines of PSAT scores and everything that you need for that one. But I believe, yes, if you score so high on this test and the guidelines are in there, then yes, you don't have to take that test.
Does that count as an attempt, the IDOE Accuplacer?
No. Accuplacer and IDOE are completely separate. Yeah.
And who keeps track of it 3 times a year? Like if they take it at another school?
I will keep track of the 3 times a year. There's a report I can run. And it'll let me know how many they've tested, but knowing that you're giving the test, I anticipate you know if you've given it to Sally 2 times already, and I'll go through that during my presentation of what is best practice and why we don't want you to necessarily use that third opportunity, and I'll explain that during my presentation.
I just mean if they tested another school system, like if they travel to take classes, we know how many times we've tested them at our
Are
school
you saying
system.
it could be a student traveling to a career center?
Or taking a class at another.
And at Ivy Tech, we can help track that, or if you know there could be a possibility that Sally's taking it at your school, but then also taking it at Career Center, we can help have that conversation on specifics that you might think they might be taking it in multiple places.
So it won't block them from logging in with their C number.
No, it
No,
won't.
there's not something, yeah. We've tried to work with AccuPlacer on that, they're not able to make that happen.
Traditionally, in the past, there's that November 1st deadline, and I really pushed them to meet that. But if it's a rolling 365 schedule, I guess I'm under the understanding that November 1st is really the PSA and SAT scores.
No, AccuPlacer is the November 1st deadline as well. We're following the state guidelines through Ivy Tech. That is the guideline. So it's not like Northeast Indiana region has determined this November 1st deadline. We're following what the state has delegated as that date.
So those 3 attempts have to be completed by November 1st?
No, I'll go through that during my presentation.